Precious Lord Jesus, we bow down and ask you to thank you for your precious goodness. Thank you for your mercy and your everlasting love. Lord, I pray that you bless us tonight, Lord, so we can remember the things you brought to our mind, the things you called us to do, and all those precious moments that we've had, times of agony, times of defeat, but times, Lord, we knew that you was always there. You picked us up, Lord. You took us by the hand. You put your arms around us, and you showed us the way. Master, thank you for giving us the light and the opportunity, Lord, to serve you in a capacity, Lord, that sometimes we don't really understand. Lord, I pray you bless us tonight, and bless the care center. And Lord, I thank you for Susan and Nathan, Lord, for the commitment they made in their life. You called them to Jackson, Tennessee to minister to women. And Lord, they responded in a positive and way, Lord, that sometimes we don't even understand. But Lord, they've been a faithful servant. They've done the things you called them to do. So bless us tonight, Lord. And Lord, we lift up the name that's above every name. We lift your name up, Jesus, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the Son of the living God. Master, thank you for loving us. Thank you so much. Amen. I want to welcome everybody tonight. I look out through this crowd and I see some folks that I recognize that's been around a long time. I don't mean you're old. I'm old. I mean, you supported the Care Center for a long time, and you don't know how much we appreciate that, to see the faithfulness you've had over all these years, the things you've done, the lives you've touched, the people you've helped. And I want to recognize the Care Center Board. I know you're out there. Will the Care Center Board just please stand up? Come on, guys. There's Bill Taylor, Elizabeth, Mark, Tony White, Dan Morris, Barbara Perry. Who to leave out? Who? Tammy, I am so sorry. Tammy Buchanan. Tammy just came on the board. She's a great addition to that. You know, I've worked with Elizabeth Taylor for a long time. I think she's my sister, I believe. I'm not really sure. But we've worked together for many, many years. And Barbara and Elizabeth are two real prayer warriors, two troopers. You can't believe how faithful they are at what they do. If you know them, you already know that. I didn't tell you anything you didn't already know. And but the coin didn't fall very far from the tree, because Mark Taylor is just like his daddy and his mama and all those folks in the Taylor family. Have done a phenomenal job in supporting and working and taking care of things at the Care Center for lots and lots of years, and we appreciate them so much. So it's time to get started, and one of the other Taylors is back in the back that's going to run some videos, and we begin. We're going to start with the history and friends of the Care Center and the 25-year anniversary. So thank all of you for coming so much.
The Care Center is a shelter for women and women with children. We take all kinds of different women. We find them in different places in their life. So part of it is that we rescue. We find some people that are in very difficult situations, oftentimes not by their own choices, so they might be victims of abuse, rape, things like that. Sometimes they have found themselves in those hard places because they made bad choices, but they still need to be rescued out of that. And then we try to restore them, we try to build them back up. A lot of times it means working with the inside of the person and not just the outside. That is our goal, though, is to see them redeemed. We really love it when people come in a particular way and they walk back out better than they came in the door. That takes some work, and it takes an effort on their part, a willingness to say, I want to be different. And then it takes an effort on our part to say, let's go down this road, let's help guide you as you do this. When they come in one way, they go out another way, so that the new way, they're hardly recognizable as the person that they came in the door to be. And then they move on and they go get an apartment. But our goal is we find them in a particular place and we need to move them to another better place.
Nathan's brother calls me up one day and says, Gary, I understand you're getting ready to open the Care Center back up to minister to women. I said, no, I don't know where you got that from.
And we came down and interviewed. Now, I've run multi-million-dollar businesses before, and so it was the weirdest interviews I've ever been through. I came down here, I interviewed, I wore a nice suit, I was dressed up, just like I was going to a business interview. And I found out that I was interviewing to live in an almost condemned house with no pay and no food. It was and they worked me over.
To talk back and forth, Nathan and I did. Everything Nathan would say to me, I'd put a roadblock in front of him. So he stands up and he says, Mr. Deaton, God sent me to Jackson, Tennessee to minister to women, but you've got the power to send me away. Well, you could have taken a dart and stuck it right through my heart. I said, no. If God's called you to Jackson, Tennessee, I'm not sending you anywhere. He moved into a place that was unlivable. And I think if anybody had been there, they'd have recognized the condition that building was in.
Yeah, well, we came to a place that had very little windows, not much heating, no air conditioning. My daughter has the record bug bites for our first night stay. She had 87. Well, now it's different. We now have been there for about 25 and a half years. Over 3,700 women and children have come through. God has been faithful the entire time.
I would say that probably in my 76 years of living, I've not known many men who've had the commitment that Nathan Young has towards being what God had called him to be.
The city of Jackson is way better with the care center here because he's housing these people and making them productive members of society.
He has so much integrity and is a person that genuinely loves the Lord, and the things that he does for the care center and the women there and the children there and for our city is really evident in how much and the eternal impact that he's made on not only these women's lives but in our city as well.
They show love, help turn lives around, not just for the lady that's living at the care center, but it enables them to make a generational change.
Probably none of us know how much difference it's made. It sits on a hill, and I think it's strategically set there by God to be able to truly be that refuge for people that need it in a time when maybe nobody believes in or cares about them. I've watched Nathan, care for folks that maybe others would never have anything to do with, and give them another shot.
I think it's great that the care center is faith-based and that they're able to share the gospel and to show the love of Christ to those women that come to live there, and that they're able to kind of be a light on the hill for those that are in need, and we're excited about that.
Jesus looks so much beyond what we as humans do, the temporal part of healing the body. Jesus saw the man, a whole person. He healed the soul for eternity. And that's what I see, what Nathan was sharing with you. These women that come through, it's more than just them removing them from drugs or removing them from a bad situation, but it's healing their life for eternity, which makes all the major difference in where they'll end up. And so that happens at the care center. That's the difference that the care center has made for the past 25 years.
Well, you got a good feel for what the care center is, a little thumbnail print of what's gone on there for the past 25 years. It's been a wonderful journey. But I want to say to you, I don't know very many folks in my life that will stay and do the things 24/7 that Nathan and Susan have been able to endure, and the things they've been able to do. It's just not normal. But I'm sure do appreciate what God has called them to do and how they have been so faithful in doing it. The lives they've touched, Bruce Hussey and Nathan work tremendously well together. They partner together. I would say, what I would be stretching the truth if I said those two guys together, with the help of some volunteers, feed roughly 400 families a week. Am I stretching the truth? Thank you, Tom. That's how they do it. Thank you so much. But so the care center reaches out and touches people, and the community probably is not really aware of what they do every week. But they served in a capacity beyond a normal commitment. And it's touched a lot of lives. So let's continue with the 25-year anniversary, okay?
This isn't part of it. It's not in there. That's why he's still stumped. Miss Elizabeth, will you come up here and join us too? There are many people who have taken part over the course of 25 and a half years. This is not something we do by ourselves, but there are two that have been with us the entire time. And they have guided us and given us wisdom and prayed. And I want to say thank you. We want to say thank you in a way that I think means the most. There's nothing more important to both of them than the Word of God. Miss, when you're going to get a little packet. I don't know if the kids went around it or not. That has a little angel in it. In the very beginning, the area was so bad. I mean, my first Christmas there, I had to run across the street, and Vantage got a shot 3 times. That was the name. Really good job. And so Miss Elizabeth prayed that big angels would stand around the property. Gary has always led us in prayer over the course of 25 years and read the Word of God to us. And so I want to thank you both by giving you a new Bible. I know you have plenty of them that are worn out already for yourselves, but thank you.
I suffer with an substance abuse problem. I was homeless, hungry, and hopeless.
And I would say my husband died on vacation, and that's when my drug use really started. I never dealt with it. I got involved with alcohol, drugs, and other men, and that's where my life went.
At the age of 12, I started doing drugs. I dropped out of school at 16. I ended up pregnant at 17.
This is my 3rd time being at the care center. First time, I think, was 2002. I was on cocaine and hydros, ended up doing some time, and I come back for a week, but I went back to jail. I went to federal prison. I got out on the 5th. I was at the care center the 15th.
I've never had family. I've never had a father that wasn't abusive. So when I got to the care center, men were mean. That's all I knew.
So when I finally made it to the care center, I didn't know if I was going to get to stay or not. And at this point, my family didn't want me around. I didn't know where I was going to go. And he was sitting across from me, and I do remember this like it was yesterday. I was crying, and he told me I was broken. At that time, I was completely broken, but I didn't realize it. But he brought it to my attention. And he told me he was going to love me until I could love myself. And he did. He taught me how to be a lady. He taught me how to respect myself. He taught me how to be a mother. But the most important thing, I heard about the gospel there. I heard about how it was done for me. All I have to do is have faith and repent and know.
Without this place, I wouldn't be who I am today. It's given me life.
Nathan and Miss Susan helped me to get my self-respect back, integrity, dignity. I have morals and values today.
And they taught me how to love, and that I can be loved.
And if I hadn't went to the care center, I wouldn't have known how truly loving and forgiving that my God and my Savior is.
And it's a trickle-down effect, I believe. I believe Mr. Nathan poured into me, and now I pour into women who are going to pour into women who are going to pour into people. So I believe it's the gift that keeps on giving.
My grandchildren call me today. They never forget my birthday. My daughter-in-laws are proud to call me Mama. When I go home, they don't lock no more doors. They welcome me with open arms, and that's all due to the grace of God and me learning how to love me. Learning how to love me, I've learned how to love others.
I've been at Kirkland's for a year. Now I'm a lead at Kirkland's, and I'll be the first resident at the Care Center Apartments.
I become a whole new woman. I learned to forgive. I learned to love. I learned to love myself. I learned to love the Lord.
I'd probably been back in prison if I would not have been able to come back to the Care Center.
I've seen miracles come up out of the Care Center, and I'm a living testimony.
So now I have my own apartment, I have a car, I have a wonderful job, I'm a monitor at Jacoa, I have my children in my life. I also get to go back to the Care Center every Friday night and lead a group. Life is good.
He just knows that we can change if we want to, and he gives us that opportunity to do it. And nobody else does. You know, everybody else just shuts the door. You know, you've given so many people lives again that nobody else will do it. Nobody else even tries, you know. Nobody, you know, people can change. You just have to give them that chance to change. And the Care Center does that.
So we thought we'd have a little fun. Questions and answers, they have no idea what I'm going to say. But we're going to speak our hearts. The reason we did it in this order is so that you don't have a young lady up here and you're wondering whether she made it or not, how messy she is, so on and so forth. You already know she made it, right? And so this is a different person sitting up here. And this is her daughter, Maddie. She says she's so nervous she didn't know that she was doing. We hope to avoid that. So we're going to do a little question and answer, have a little fun. And I wanted you to see that this affects children. Okay? When they were talking about generations, it's quite true. So for instance, Maddie, this darling little child here at 15, was 4 years old when she first came to the Care Center. Okay? And Sandy, so what was it like? You came to the Care Center first time. Tell us about your life a little bit then, and just share your, don't be nervous. There's nobody out there.
Well, the first time I came, I knew about God and loved Him, but I didn't have my trust in God. I still thought I had control of my life, and I was going to do it how I thought it was supposed to be done. So I lost my kids due to drugs. They told me these steps I had to do to get them back. Well, I worked 2 full-time jobs, did all the hair follicles, ended up getting my kids back, but I wasn't trusting in God, and so I lost them again and went down that road. So this time when I come back, but I'm not trusting God, and I'm okay, that day.
Okay, so we deal with a lot of family. So tell us about your family. How many of them been to the Care Center? What's that look like? Because she's not the only one.
Well, my sister went to the Care Center first before I'd even ever heard of it. And I have 3 nieces. So at that time when I was there, my sister had lost her daughters, and Mr. Nathan took temporary custody of them for a weekend, so they would not go into foster care until my mom could get them. So, because they would not let me have them because I didn't have custody of my kids.
Okay, so we're going to ask Maddie. Are you ready? Maddie, part of your life was really hard. What was it like when your mama was the old mom? She's agreed to do this, right? So you can tell her. Just spill the beans. What was it like for you as a child? Yeah, this last time.
Well, I didn't really have a bond with my mom. I mean, I did, but I feel like it was hard for me to trust her. And, from switching from house to house and stuff like that, after, the the care center really saved me too. After she came, I finally got a bond back with my mom, and I can trust her more than I ever have. And I'm just so grateful because now that I can actually spend nights with her, I can spend weekends with her, I can actually call her and know that she's okay. And before I couldn't do that.
I almost didn't let Cindy back in the third time. Burned a bridge a couple of times. That's enough, you know. And she really got after me and begged me, and I finally gave in. I went soft and did something at the time. So, tell us about your attitude when you came back the last time. She just came out of federal prison, like you heard in the tape, and she wanted to come back. What's different?
Trusting God. In my Bible and stuff more. I'm more comfortable with myself this time. I'm not trying to people please and still what I need to do. I just want it. I want it bad. You know, I'm so tired of that life.
You ever think you'll go back?
Oh, no.
We're getting ready to open up some apartments. And Sandy will be our first one. Sandy is now a house monitor. So Maddie, because Maddie's kind of a house monitor too, she doesn't know. She's kind of part of me. She wants to make sure nobody messes her around. Okay, so Maddie, tell us what it's like. Your mom's a house monitor, you come and stay at the house. How many people do you let go to work nonsense? Why is that? Why are you so strict about it?
Because I feel like you've been very loyal to me and my mom, so I don't feel like anybody should just take you for advantage because you're trying to give them another opportunity, and I just don't think it's fair.
Do you believe your mom will ever go back?
No.
So when you look at your mom now, what's it like? What do you see?
I see a new changed woman that actually tells me the truth about everything, that actually works really hard, and she works and works until she's still fighting. I see her still fighting. I know it can be hard sometimes, but I know she's still trying.
How does that make you feel as your daughter?
It makes me feel really good to fight for not only her and her 2 kids.
Her son was 11 when he came first time. He's now a grown boy, 22 years old, graduated high school, working a job, doing just fine too. So he can't live with us though, he's too old. But we wanted you to hear their heart a little bit. Yeah, no. Well, I know I'm probably a grave disappointment on what you expected to see. I have this up here probably because this is what you expected to see. I had hair when I came to the care center. Yeah, I mean, if you just, so what, I don't know what you, in your imagination, picture of a guy who's lived with over 3,700 women and children. After 5 years, my hair looked like Albert Einstein, only with patches pulled out. My wife wouldn't let me leave the house that way, so she blew them back in place. So I found that this haircut here was both the safest for me and also preventative. So I look like I'm handling everything just fine. I have this cane here that it has a rearview mirror because I've lived with, for the most part, people who hate men. I've developed a strange paranoia and want to make sure what's coming up behind me. This thing here, hear that? Is that not obnoxious? Hear that? That's actually the sound that women make when they see a bug, or a child that's running down the hallway with glee. It's obnoxious. I've heard it so many times, and I found I had no voice, and so I have this, now I sound just like them sometimes. And this was to hold me up when I get really tired. That's probably more what you were expecting, right? I know it's been said they came to honor Susan and I. It's really not true. We're here to honor what God has done. We are a strange place. This is very strange and uncomfortable to me. We have not done fundraisers. We've not advertised. All these years, we have believed that God would meet our needs more than abundantly, and we haven't even charged the ladies. He has been very faithful. For now 25 and a half years, we have been open, and we preach the gospel, and we try to serve our Savior well and others' needs. So first, I want to thank the Lord. Second, her name hasn't been mentioned much, but I don't know how insane that would be if it wouldn't have been for my wife. She's a magnificent woman. She has worked behind the scenes. She has prayed, has loved me through many hard days. She has loved the ladies. She has suffered through the disappointments and rejoiced in the joys of it. I can't imagine even going through life without her. Thank you, dear. I know you're also wondering how a guy who looks like me got that beautiful woman. It was a dirty trick. I used to have hair and muscles and a smaller waistline. All that went away and I kept her. She thinks I'm cute. And I don't take her to the eye doctor either. Many people have helped us over the course of years. When you don't have a lot of money coming in, then you make do. We're a strange organization. We tithe the money that comes in, we give 10% away. We believe that it's a testimony that God has met our needs more than abundantly, and so we give some away. We take all kinds of people. We take the most horrible stories you can imagine. And then we take, we have newborn babies at times, and we've actually had an 87-year-old woman. Can you imagine being 87 and homeless? It's horrible. It was a lot done. We are a little crazy. The Care Center was so bad, as you heard testimony already, and the neighborhood was horrible. People used to walk across our front yards with shotguns and things like that. And so I had a fire engine hat that went like that, and had a little light that went off, and puppy dog slippers. And we'd go out in my front yard and shoot the pigeons off the house. And everybody understood I was crazy and I could hit what I was aiming at. That was quite helpful in the neighborhood. Susan prayed all those crack houses and prostitution houses and all that right out of the neighborhood. So if you look around now, they're not there anymore. We're grateful for that. We are dreamers. the value of a person is very strange to us. See, we see people who come into our lives that have influenced many people in a bad way. They've broken up marriages, they've peddled drugs, they've been involved in unsavory lifestyles. They don't think much of themselves. They've taken tax dollars while sitting in jail. They've lived off the land. Who knows, all kinds of crazy things. They've grown up in houses that are so bad that you wouldn't want to hear one story. And so every time they go out and they touch somebody's life, they touch it in a bad way. But if they change, then they will begin to change their children, just like you saw here. They'll begin to change the other people's lives that they talk to. They'll stop being bad citizens and be good ones. They'll pay taxes. They'll rent apartments and houses, and they'll go back to their spouses and live loyal, honorable lives. They will invest in the lives of others. See, we don't believe in this stuff of teach a person, give a person a fish to eat, teach them to fish, they can take care of themselves. We like teaching people to teach other people how to fish, because they can get invested in other people's lives. And so when they change, they will change as long as they live, and the people they come in contact with as long as they live. And those people might be different, just like Maddie is going to be different. She is different. And she will be careful. When her friends, she's 15, when her friends want to go out and party and do whatever, she comes to the care center and stays with her mom. It's a choice. Okay. She at 15 already tries to help keep some of the adults in line. Now imagine what she'll do when she's an adult. We dream that way. We believe that people can change, and some people come and they just change a little. That's okay. We like seeing that. But we're not confused. We believe that the greatest agent of change in the world is Jesus Christ. See, we are interested in what's eternal. Sure, we like making good citizens. That's correct. But we understand that permanent change comes from changing on the inside, and that affects who we are on the outside. And we know of a Jesus who came when we were wicked, and he lived a perfect life, and he died on the cross and took on the wrath of God because we deserve it. I understand, I was a wicked man once. And he rose again on the third day. And if we will enter into a relationship with him, our lives will be changed permanently and eternally. And we make sure that message gets out, because that's the greatest message that we have. When the girls leave us, we don't go with them. And so you need to have as many of those kind of seeds planted in their hearts as they can. So we keep structure. I'm tough. Yeah, I am. Sometimes I'm a little mean. Just ask me. But structure has to be given on the outside until we build it on the inside. And we can take that away. And it's when I was joking about the rearview mirror, it's very difficult to come and change your life in a year or less when you have lived a horrible life. Are there difficulties? Yes. Susan and I tried to guard her from some, but we know more than 10,000 horrible stories. Horrible. It's difficult sometimes not to become cynical. It's difficult sometimes to absorb the pain of it. We had to learn to minister and not be angry. We had a little girl come a long time ago, named Tatiana. She was a federally relocated witness. She was abused badly enough to be paralyzed on one side of her body and blind on both sides. I have a daughter and a son. I guess my wife does too. I was enraged as a human being, as a daddy, as a man. The Lord had to teach us that people don't meet our anger when they're already angry. They need to learn how to forgive, how to heal, how to be different. Because they come with enough anger of their own. They come with enough reasons to be angry. And so we have tried to love women and children. We do love them. I mean, I make fun, and all that kind of stuff, but we really do love them. And we think that they're extraordinarily valuable and that they need ministered to. I would encourage you all to find those people in your life that you reach out to, that you have a passion for, that your heart hurts for, and get to work. You have to get your hands dirty. You have to carry around some burdens that will stick with you the rest of your life. You'll have to fight being cynical. You'll have to fight. I am more and more amazed at how people can treat each other. And then I become more and more amazed at what people look like when they're miracles. And how people who were wicked can become people who promote righteousness. I'm one of those guys. That's my testimony. We don't often share it, but I am an ex-alcoholic and an ex-drug addict. I am an ex-wife beater. And when Jesus touched my life, He delivered me from drugs and alcohol. And I'm still married to the same woman now for almost 38 years. And I would kill for her and die for her. Because he who has been forgiven much loves much. And I have walked with the Lord now for 35 years, so has my wife. And we know what it looks like to be changed. See, now you take that person who's wicked, and you find him with his wife, guarding women and children, and loving them, and pastoring the church, and caring as a man of God. Why am I telling you this? I want you to know that God can take messy people and change them. I want you, when you think about the Care Center, to think about God. Not Nathan and Susan, not our wonderful board, not all the people who help us, but that there's a God who loves people who are messy. You may be one of them. I don't know some of you. You may have them in your family. And I want you to be people who have great hope. That you turn to Him and you ask Him to do a work in your life or theirs, and that you'll dream and have a vision for it. And I want you to think about that when you think about the Care Center. Do they all make it? No. We don't even expect it. We just got a phone call the other day that one of them was dead. We get those phone calls. They're heartbreaking. We get some that don't listen. And they go out. The Bible talks about a dog returning to its vomit. And they often do. We plant seeds. We don't measure success. Success is in God's hands. We don't know when people will change, so we plant seeds and we water those seeds. And we let God be about the business of giving increase. And He may do it in front of our face, and He may do it 20 years from now, and with some of them, He may do it after we're dead and gone. What we know that his word doesn't go out in vain, and that prayers get answered, and we will help the people. So I want to thank you for coming, but I wanted you to hear our hearts. We could go through a lot of statistics and stuff, and I got a friend who'll come up here. That's what he wants to do. But I want you to hear our hearts about this ministry. And I don't want you to remember Nathan and Susan Young. And I want you to remember our God, the people who have helped us so diligently throughout the years. And yeah, we're there. Yeah, we're there. We do the daily stuff. But if God didn't equip us to do it, we wouldn't do that either. I would run screaming out of the building. It is the hardest job I've ever had in my life, and yet the most joyous opportunity I've ever seen. I've got to see more miracles than anybody I know. So, in the end, honor the Lord, thank Him for what He's done at the Care Center. And now I'm going to turn it over to a friend. This friend, he several years ago said, "Hey, I want to find out about the Care Center." He listened, he learned, he got involved. He said, "Nate, I want a chance to talk." His name's John Dodd. He's up here in a minute. And he said, "Nathan, I think you're making a mistake. Nobody knows you're there." Yeah, I know. Because I don't like doing this right. And he said, I want to offer some opportunities to people. And I want to talk to them about what he has seen. He wants to do that. So I'm going to give you my friend, John Dodd, and then he's going to take his part in this. So thanks for coming. Thanks for celebrating with us. 25 and a half years.
Helen Keller was asked this question: can you imagine any fate worse than being deaf, dumb, and blind? And she said, yes, there is one fate worse, and that is having sight, but no vision. And we hope tonight that your sight has been greatly expanded for what's been happening at the Care Center over the last 25 years. And we also hope tonight that your vision has been greatly expanded of what will happen over the next 25 years. And we are so excited about it. As Nathan said, we cannot hold it to ourselves. So thank you all for being here and for participating with us in that. Now I know what some of y'all are thinking. Who is this random guy from Nashville and why is he here? Okay. So I'll tell you a little bit about me, but I'll tell you first of all, why am I here? I'm here because I cannot not be here. I'm here because years ago I tasted of the Care Center and I got addicted. And so here I am. Because years ago, some people invited me to a Care Center dinner. And they were so excited about the Care Center, they just had to tell me about it. Y'all know people like that? You know, we get excited about something, we just have to tell other people about it because we know they're going to be blessed by that. It doesn't matter what it is. So, for example, me, I've got 2 words for you all tonight. Okay, you ready? Amazon Prime. Okay, does anybody do Amazon Prime? Okay, come on, all the time and money you save, like you can do all your Christmas shopping with a click of a button? Come on. 2 words. Costco tires. Okay, anybody with me? $80 off your next set of Michelins. Road hazard warranty and lifetime rotation included. I know you have to go to Memphis to do that, but 2 words. Jesus Christ. The free gift of God, eternal life in Christ at no cost to us. What a deal. My sin in exchange for his righteousness. I gotta tell people about that, right? 2 words. 2 words. Thankfully, a few years ago, Aunt Elizabeth Taylor invited me to this very dinner, and they shared with me 2 words: Care Center. And my life has never been the same. And I'm sure that'll be true of all I knew. So that's why I'm here. Now let's talk about why you're here. You're here because as we put this dinner together many months ago, we started talking about, even as Nathan said a while back, some of us came to Nathan and said, we need to open this up a little bit and invite others onto the buffet of opportunity to see what might be interesting to them and what might bless them. And Nathan went into his George Mueller mode, okay? Y'all know George Mueller, the famous guy in the 1800s in Bristol, England, who ran an orphanage and started with just two kids basically and ended up having an orphanage for thousands of kids. And one of his key principles that he followed was he never told anybody about any of the needs of the orphanage, never asked for any money or any support in any way. He always just made it known to the Lord so that God alone would get the glory for providing. And as history shows, that was a pretty successful model. It worked. But we just kind of had to challenge Nathan a little bit, because the thinking is there's so many opportunities for you and I to be blessed, and he who refreshes others will himself be refreshed. And so we challenged Nathan and said, well, Nathan, you're hiding this from people, and aren't you denying them an opportunity to invest maybe some of their time, talent, or treasure? And he kind of hemmed on around. So I don't like asking people for money. And I said, we're not asking them for anything. We're giving them an opportunity to look at the buffet and say, I like this going on over here. I want a taste of that, and I want to invest in that. So that's part of the reason why you all are here tonight. Normally we run about 100 people. We invite people at the care center, the board members, and a few hair-challenged people like me, and so we normally have about 100, but we wanted to open it up a lot to people who've never heard of the care center. Or maybe you've heard of the care center, you've participated in it off and on. We wanted you to come back so you can see the incredible things that are going on here. So, I'm from Nashville. 2 more things I'll share, and then we'll close it out. I am tired, and I'm a numbers person. So let me explain that a little bit. As Nathan said, I'm kind of a numbers person. What I do for a living, estate tax, income tax, investments, financial planning, all of that. So I spend a lot of time with numbers. And I get clients, they'll call and say, hey, John, what do you think about this investment opportunity? And so 2 key things we're always looking at is, is your money being safeguarded? What are the protections around it? And second, what has it done? What's their business plan? Has it produced any dividends? What's the track record, et cetera? And so I come to the care center, we've got these great stories, and if you're like me, you almost want to start singing Kumbaya and, get a campfire going. I mean, it's awesome. But part of what I like to look at is pop the hood a little bit and see if this thing, what's the structure, what's the framework? And as you'll see, we've been rotating some of these numbers throughout the night. And so I just want to share with you all some astounding numbers that, as a numbers person, have really blown me away. For example, 821,000. That's the number of meals that have been served at the care center in the last 25 years. That's 90 meals a day, okay? Can you all imagine putting out 90 meals a day in a kitchen the size of your kitchen? Because I've seen the care center kitchen. It's not a commercial-sized kitchen, okay? So that's amazing. The $10 a day. $10 a day is what it costs on average, the care center, to house, feed, educate, clothe, provide medical care for each resident. Now, Madison County will tell you it costs them $76 a day to do the same thing. Foster care, $27. So basically, for the price of 2 venti mochas at Starbucks, the care center is able to do some incredible things in only 4 bedrooms and 3.5 baths. Now, speaking of 3.5 baths, you'll see the number up there, 1,500,000. What is that? That is the number of sheets of toilet paper that are used annually at the care center. As I told you, there's a lot going on in the Care Center, okay? That's as far as I'm going on that. And I think one of the most astounding statistics of all is $134,400. That is 2017's operating budget for the Care Center. They do all that on $134,000. They don't accept any federal funds. They have no debt. They're a 501c3 whose statements are audited by a local CPA firm, governed by an outstanding board, as you know. And so when I look at an investment opportunity, I want to make sure the stewardship and the protections around it are excellent. And without exception, the Care Center has gone above and beyond. Every check requires 2 signatures. So I know if I choose to invest some of my time or my talent or my treasure, it is going to be safeguarded. And the results, I would call the Care Center, if I had to call it an investment, I would call it a growth stock that has produced tremendous dividends, both in this world and the world to come. You all have seen the stories. And so from a purely return on investment standpoint, it's outstanding. So, but I'm also not only that kind of numbers guy, I'm tired. I'm really tired. I'm tired of hearing about the tsunami of bad statistics that are already facing us in the U.S. and getting worse every year. For example, 1 in 7 Americans goes to bed hungry. Isn't that amazing? 1 in 7. Over 500,000 people are homeless. That's 8 times the city of Jackson. And you know the leading cause of death in America today? Drug overdose. I'm tired of hearing about that and feeling helpless to do something about it. And I know all of you feel the same way. Those statistics claw at my heart. And I want to look the other way. And what can I do about any of that? And yet I realize too, the heart of Jesus is in there as well, because you know where he says in Matthew 25, I was hungry and you gave me food, I was thirsty and you gave me drink. There's 6 activities that Jesus mentioned in Matthew 25. It strikes me. The Care Center does all 6. But I'm sitting here, you know, I enjoy memorizing scripture, and so that's one of my scriptures, but I always kind of feel bad. When y'all ever have a scripture like that when you review it in your mind and you go, I'm not sure I'm living up. How are we doing on that? And so I'm sitting here going, okay, I was hungry and you gave me food. You know, I fed some homeless people like 5 years ago, I think at a church outing. You know, does that count? I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I'm thinking, well, I handed out some cups of water at a marathon race one time as part of the Rotary Club. Does that count? I don't know. I was naked and you clothed me. I do give some used clothes to Goodwill, so you know, does that I guess I don't know if that counts. I was a stranger and you took me in. You know, I don't let strangers in my house, right? I mean, Kathleen and I, we don't generally do that. And so, well, I did drive the van for Room in the Inn about 5 years ago for my church. So I went downtown, brought it. So does that? I was in the hospital. I was sick, and you came to me. And I don't like going to hospitals, you know. But my wife's a doctor. Do I get credit for that? You know, I don't know. I was in prison, and you visited me. I don't even know where our jail is. And so I'm sitting here going, I'm doing a lousy job on something that Jesus made very clear to us. And yet I realize, you know what? I'm not doing that directly, but indirectly. You and I can engage and invest in what's on Jesus' heart, which all 6 of those is wrapped up at the Care Center in a 4,500 square foot house. And so that is a wonderful relief to me that I can at least engage in that, and you can too indirectly. So let me close out and talk about a couple of the opportunities on the buffet that you might find attractive. And I know what some of you may be thinking, look, I'm just not qualified. I mean, I don't work with the homeless, I don't work with substance, I don't have any experience, I don't know if I can engage. Well, let me tell you, we do have very high standards at the Care Center. Am I right, Nathan? Very high. There's one qualification that you all have to meet before you can participate in any way. And as I look around, I think everybody has it. It's called a pulse, okay? So as long as you have a pulse, you're qualified, okay? So if you think about it, God has given us time, talent, treasure. That's it. And one day He'll hold us accountable. And so if you think about it, as I do, what can I do time-wise? Well, if you have more time than anything else, the Care Center can definitely use you. I mean, running a vacation Bible school, coming over to bake cookies, coming over to babysit, something as simple as that. And I know as I look in the audience, there are some of you that are going through the empty nest syndrome. Your children have left the home. Now you have more time on your hands and you've realized, I miss doing laundry. Oh, man. Cooking, I miss cooking. Oh, and I miss cleaning the house. And most of all, I know some of y'all are getting good emotional. I miss the annual pilgrimage to Walmart's back to school extravaganza. We need back to school supplies. So if what you have is time, awesome. We need some time. What about talent? I mean, maybe you're good at makeovers or manicures, plumbing or painting. We know you're talented. And our view is Care Center will give you an awesome opportunity to let you show the world how incredibly talented you are. And we know how talented you are. Why keep it a secret? That's what I'm wondering. So plenty of opportunity. There are over 70 little projects that need some attention, from small to large. There'll be a list on the table on the way out. Our new awesome website is up, carecenterjackson.org. There's a complete list there. And so if you're saying, I wonder if the Care Center needs this, if you're wondering that, here's the deal. Just wonder if you or your family needs it, and then multiply it times 30, and then come on, you're set. Okay? So talent, and then treasure. Maybe some of you have more treasure than you do talent or time. Well, the Care Center takes cash, checks, gift cards, PayPal, stocks, bonds, cars, real estate, appreciate securities, whatever. And that's important too, because we're trying to raise a $150,000 budget for 2018. As you've heard, Grace Manor, the new 8 apartment units, will rent for $300 a month. And so the goal is to help the Care Center become self-sustaining. So that's awesome. But each of those units we need a washing machine, a dryer. So we need 8 of this and 8 of that. And there's always some property that might be available at pennies on the dollar. You never know. So that's our vision. And so we would invite you and give you the opportunity to pray about something that might grab your heart. And I think that's where I got Nathan, because I said, Nathan, you can still take the George Mueller approach. What we're doing, instead of you and just a few others being the ones praying to God, we can invite all these people to invite them and have them pray to the Lord about what their participation may be. So it's the George Mueller approach on steroids. Okay, is that okay? That's okay with you, Nathan, right? Again, as you all know, if we do that, God gets the glory and we get blessed. So let me close out with what you already know, and that is, where Jesus says, "Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." But I've learned not only is that true, but the corollary is also true. Where your heart is, there will your treasure and your time and your talent be as well. And so what we hope we gave you tonight was a wide array on the buffet of opportunities to consider what might grab your heart. So thank you so much for coming. We're going to invite you back next year, and the year after that, and the year after that. Because, as you can tell, a lot has gone on in the last 25 years, and there's a lot left to do. So I'm going to close out our time. We're going to do 2 things. One, we're going to have a poem come up on the screen that will be read by Gary. And the poem was written by a former resident of Egerton who, as so many do, showed up at the Care Center with absolutely nothing to offer except pain and problems and frustrations. And as so often happens, she later left the Care Center, being rescued, restored, and redeemed. So this poem will speak to that process in a very heartfelt way. And then we're going to, after that, magically stand up and sing silent. So thank you all so much.
Shelter is his name. When confusion has come and night is near, thank God for shelter. His face, no sorrow or fear. I love you, shelter. Peace at last, security within. The morning light brings a friend. I know shelter is here. I feel him. I hear him. I see him. I love you, shelter. Thank God you're here.